Welcome to an all-ears episode of Undertold by CM, where we tell the jaw-dropping stories of Black history that you might not know. All-ears episodes are just for us, the kids.
Well, wait, and the parents too.
I guess the parents can listen to
Gee, thanks.
anytime.
So today we're here to talk about a cool guy named Bayard Rustin. Last month was June, so it got us thinking, who can we spotlight for Pride Month?
What is Pride? I know I go to the parade every year.
Pride celebrates everyone's rights to love whoever they want to love and be who they want to be.
And there's a lot of rainbows.
Yes, the lovely rainbows. So tell me, before we learn about Bayard Rustin, can you share today's fun fact for us?
Yes, let's talk about my favorite dog, the Golden Retriever.
Ooh, okay. You know a lot about golden retrievers, so let's just hear 3 quick facts. Number 1, let's go.
Golden Retrievers can carry a raw egg in their mouth without breaking the shell.
Oh my goodness, that's pretty cool. What else? Number 2.
They love to eat, so you have to be careful about not letting them overeat.
Okay, number 3.
They're easy to train and make for good pets and family dogs.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, well, that's sweet. All right, time to get to our episode.
Let's go.
All right. So, Bayard Rustin was born in Pennsylvania, and he was raised by his grandparents. That'd be like if you lived with Grandma Kim and Papa, which I'm sure you would love. Lots of people live with their mom and their dad, or they live with just their mom, or just their dad, or 2 moms, or 2 dads, or with their grandparents, or just with other people who care for them. All those different types of families matter. But as I mentioned, Bayard loved living with his grandparents, and they were actually pretty young to be grandparents. They were really kind and fun, and they always had really important people who cared about fairness for everyone coming in their house. And these were important leaders like Mary McLeod Bethune, W.B. Du Bois. You can look all those people up later.
Good.
Yeah. Now, his mother was something called a Quaker. Can you share what a Quaker is?
Quakers are a Christian group known for being all about peace, equality, and they oppose slavery.
Yes, so Quakers are Christians who don't believe in war. They believe that everyone is equal, men, women, people of all different colors, and many Quakers were abolitionists. We remember what abolitionists are, right?
I forgot, actually.
That's okay. Abolitionists are people that were working to fight and get rid of slavery. At the time Bayard Rustin was living, slavery had ended in the United States. So anyway, eventually Bayard Rustin became a Quaker too. But while he was a kid, he was a great student. He was one of those kids who did a lot of different things. He played football, he wrote poetry, he acted in school plays, he was in the student government, and he even spoke at his high school graduation. Oh, also, he had a beautiful singing voice. Are you a good singer?
Kinda.
Yeah? What's your favorite song? What's something you would, or maybe your favorite artist?
Bad Bunny.
Yeah, okay. Bad Bunny. So, because he was such a great singer, he actually got a singing scholarship to Wilberforce and then to Cheyney State. These are 2 colleges. And a scholarship is when you have such a great talent or a great skill or you're really good at school and the school says, we want you to come here, so we're not going to charge you tuition. It's pretty cool. So he got to go to those places for free because he got a singing scholarship. Now, while he was in school and then afterwards, he got involved in a lot of anti-war movements. Basically, he wanted the wars to end. And that was partially because he was a Quaker. He didn't believe in war and fighting. He was also inspired by a man named Gandhi from India. Have you heard of Gandhi?
No, I haven't.
Gandhi was a big believer in nonviolence.
Nice.
Yeah. And there actually was a war happening right around this time that Bayard Rustin became a Quaker. World War II. So there was this thing called the draft. The draft means that if you are a man age 18 and up and your name gets picked, then you have to go to war and you have to go fight.
Thanks.
Yikes. Now you can get out of it if your religion means you don't believe in fighting. That's what you call a conscientious objector. Can you say that? Conscientious
Conscientious
objector.
objector.
Yes. So at this time, if you were a conscientious objector, they would say, okay, you don't have to go to fight, but you do have to go to this work camp. So Bayard Rustin was called to fight. He says, I'm a conscientious objector. I don't want to fight. So they said, okay, you have to go to this camp. And he said, you know what? I don't want to go to camp either. So what happens when you don't go to camp and you don't go to war is you go to jail. You go to prison for deserting. So he went to prison for a few years, and he was there with many other people who also were conscientious objectors. And while he was there, he protested things that he believed weren't fair, such as racism. Even in the prison, they had prisoners who were of different races sit in different places. And even while he was in prison, he was fighting against a lot of that stuff. So from an early age, he was fighting against things that were unfair. Is that something that you think he would do?
Yes.
Yeah? So, have you seen that famous picture of Martin Luther King giving a speech in Washington, D.C.? There's a big pool of water, and it's right there on what we call the National Mall in D.C. You've actually been there. Do you remember what Martin Luther King's speech was called?
I had a dream.
Yes. So, Bayard Rustin had spent so much of his life organizing people, organizing students, helping people to fight against unfairness like racism, helping people to fight against inequality, making sure that we weren't fighting in wars, that we were doing our best to have peace. He had learned from Gandhi about nonviolence and about civil disobedience. Civil disobedience is when you don't follow the laws, but you don't follow the laws because you believe that they're not right. So he was an expert in this area. And when there was an idea to have a huge march on Washington, Bayard Rustin is the man that they called to organize it.
Nice.
There had never been a march this big, but in 1963, the famous March on Washington had, how many people do you think there were? 10,000, 50,000, or 250,000?
250,000.
Yes, there were about 200 to 250,000 people there. That's 1/4 people were all there.
That's a lot of people.
It was the largest march that they'd had there to date. And Bayard Rustin was the one who organized it. Now, at this time, they didn't have social media or internet or cell phones. Everything had to be done through the mail or over the phone or in newspapers. And so he was able to get the word out, get buses there, get money raised, make sure that there were lunches and snacks for everyone. It was a pretty big deal. He also spoke himself at the March on Washington.
Nice.
How would you go about getting all those people in one place at one time? What would you do?
I do not know. That is like so many people.
Yeah. But he was able to do it. He was really good at it. Here's something interesting about Bayard Rustin. When you were in school, you probably learned about Rosa Parks, Harriet Tubman.
Yes.
What other people have you learned about during Black History Month or in school?
I learned about Mae Jemison.
Yeah, Dr. Mae Jemison.
That was in our episode.
Mm-hmm.
You should listen to it.
So you probably didn't learn about Bayard Rustin, did you?
No.
Yes. That's because he really had to do a lot of his work behind the scenes because he was gay. That means that he loved men. And so at that time, and even sometimes now, people didn't like that. And so they didn't treat him fairly. In fact, some people were pretty mean to him. Can you imagine what it would be like to be really, really good? So, for example, you're really, really good at chess. You actually won a tournament recently. So, what if someone said, okay, hey, Nas, we know you're really good at chess, so we're going to let you participate, but we're going to make sure you do it in this room where no one can see you. And that's because we don't really like people that have curly hair. That wouldn't be fair, would it?
Of course not.
And it's not like you made your hair curly, you're just born with curly hair, which is great, by the way.
Yep.
So that was the same thing about Bayard Rustin. He couldn't help that he is a gay man, but they wanted to make him hide his work and be in the shadows.
Can we cut this? Can you cut some of this out? Just cut this part that we're talking about because you're giving people ideas about what I look like, and then they'll try to kidnap me.
Okay, I'm just adding this brief note. I'm recording it after the initial recording. I may have oversold the dangers of kids being on the internet, and Nas is now concerned that if we overdescribe what he looks like, he may be kidnapped. That's not a real concern. However, if any of you out there do want to kidnap him, I have a particular set of skills, and I will find you. Whoa. Okay, back to the episode. Pride Month, and really all year round, is when we celebrate the people who often are put in the shadows, are put behind the scenes because of who they love or who they are. And Undertold is a podcast where we celebrate people who often don't have their stories told, right?
Yes.
Okay. So after the March on Washington, which was extremely successful, Bayard Rustin continued to do other civil rights work. He advocated for what we call working class people. That means people who do jobs where they don't make a whole lot of money, but it's really important work. He wanted to make sure that everyone was able to take care of their families and have access to the same things as other people. He started to have different ideas towards the end of his life, but for the sake of today's podcast, I think it makes sense to acknowledge all the impact that Bayard Rustin had in helping to make our country a better one. And he did it even though he experienced a challenge of people treating him unfairly. Towards the end of his life, he visited a whole lot of countries like Cambodia, Thailand, Israel, and he went around advocating for peace and justice.
We're actually going to Thailand.
We are?
Yeah, we are.
Oh, okay. Good to know. So there are a couple movies out there about Bayard Rustin. I recommend if you're a child, you check with your parents first to see if it's appropriate for you to watch them. Both of them are on Netflix. One is called Brother Outsider, The Life of Bayard Rustin, and that's a documentary. Do you know what a documentary is?
Nope.
A documentary is a movie that doesn't have acting. It's made up of real interviews, real clips. You're going to see the real Bayard Rustin, which is pretty cool. He was a very charismatic, powerful speaker.
And the other movie is called Rustin.
Yeah, it's called Rustin. And that is really focused on how the March on Washington happened. It really focuses on that part of his life. And that one's dramatized. There are actors who are playing the different people that we know existed in real life. And then if you really want to learn about Bayard Rustin, there's a great book called Lost Prophet, The Life and Times of Bayard Rustin by John D'Amelio. Did you know about Bayard Rustin before today?
No.
No, and now we do. Okay, so before we end, let's share one thing that you are recommending to our audience.
Bob Ross.
Ooh, Bob Ross. I like him. Who's Bob Ross?
A painter on YouTube. He makes painting look easy. He makes really great drawings of nature. I thought it was AI and edited, but it really isn't. Hey kids, if you're listening to this with your parents, ask them to go on YouTube and search for Bob Ross. One time while he was filming a live show, he was wearing a wireless microphone and he forgot about it.
Oh, are you going to tell this story? We just watched this episode.
He went to the bathroom. The mic was on, so everybody heard what he was doing.
Oh, no.
Yep.
So everyone heard him using the bathroom?
Mm-hmm.
So how's Bob Ross doing now?
Well, sadly, in 1995, Bob Ross, who smoked a lot of cigarettes, died from emphysema. But on Halloween, people dress up like him, like Happy Clouds, to represent Bob Ross.
Oh, and if you watch an episode, you'll get that Happy Clouds reference, yes. I'm so glad that you loved watching Bob Ross. I loved watching it as a kid, too. Thank you all so much for listening to our episode. Can you do us a favor? Can you just take a moment to subscribe on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcasts? Or if you really love us, subscribe in all of those places. That would be super awesome and it will help other people to learn more about Undertold. And then we can give you even more episodes. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. And we can't wait to chat with you again in a few weeks.
Oh, man.
Okay.
See ya. Thanks for listening.